hello again. Last time we discussed the ways you can clean and disinfect food premises properly, and consequently cause disease, spoilage and destruction, making food dangerous and inedible. In this lesson, you are gonna learn about pest management and how to deal with those pesky critters. We are almost to the end of the course, so let's begin. Food pests are organisms which eat or live in our food supplies. All pests must be rigorously controlled to prevent contamination. And your job as a supervisor is to ensure that this happens, maintaining the very highest standards of hygiene and cleanliness. The commonest pests are mammals, birds and insects that live alongside humans and have adapted to live in our food business premises. The most frequently encountered are cockroaches, flies, beetles, weevils, ants, birds, mice, and rats. Birds are a problem around warehouses, factories and bakeries. They provide living space and plentiful food for gulls, pigeons, starlings and sparrows. They cause contamination by eating human food and leaving their bacteria-ridden droppings on them. Salmonella and Campylobacter are the most common. All wild birds, their eggs and nests, are protected by law and can be removed only by holders of government-approved special licenses. Use precautionary measures such as protective netting, scaring, hawking or bird-proofing to protect your food and the premises. Other common pests include brown rat. Brown rat can eat virtually any organic object. A pair can produce hundreds of individuals in 1 year. House mouse. House mouse are also omnivorous. Mice can produce around 2,000 offspring in 1 year. Flies. Flies are common examples that include bluebottles and fruit flies, which feed on decaying matter and spread pathogens while feeding. Wasps. Wasps can contaminate food from their mouths and feet and are attracted by the sugars at bakeries in particular. Cockroaches. Cockroaches are persistent communal insects that give off an unpleasant odor. These omnivores love humid conditions and plenty of food scraps. Booklice. Booklice feed on mold and yeast in humid conditions, often infesting grain and flour. Pharaoh ants. Pharaoh ants are tiny ants that infest ducts in hot buildings such as hospitals and infest sugar and protein-rich foods. Weevils, beetles and moths. They are often brought in with ingredients and prone to infest flour, beans and other dried products. Food contamination produced by pests is physical, pathogenic, or, indirectly, chemical, from the use of pesticides and insecticides, or a combination of all three. Let's look at the likely sources. Biological contamination can come in several forms. Bacteria and other pathogens enter food via the insect's body, or in the case of flies, by its feeding method of vomiting digestive juices over food and then re-ingesting them. Many bacteria may arrive on the pest's feet also. Droppings that are left by the pest in the food or in the food preparation area. Eggs laid by pest insects on or in the food either hatch into larvae, spoiling the food, or make the food inedible by their presence. Physical contamination involves bodies and body parts lost when insects die or shed their skins, hair or fur shed by rodents, feathers lost by birds or falling from their roost sites or nests, feces dropped by all pests on or in food or around the premises. Foreign objects can be dragged into the premises or even stored food by rodents. Lastly, chemical contamination entails. The biggest source is misapplication or abuse of chemical baits and poisons. Pesticides may be left out without being disposed of properly. Laying baits or spraying insecticides in food preparation areas. Rodents can drag baits or poisoned food into food areas. Rat urine can pass on Wales disease, which is a serious infection. Pests must be prevented from entering or living in a food premises, and therefore have to be controlled. A serious pest problem is termed an infestation. Such infestations must be rooted out immediately by any legal means necessary, usually by eradication. Physical controls generally trap the pests and either kill them, or enable them to be removed from the premises, and include traps, bird scarers, flypaper, etc. Chemical controls fall into categories such as poisons, repellents, insecticides, pesticides, etc. Just being clean and tidy will significantly reduce the amount of livable habitat available for pests. You can also leave traps and bait boxes on premises, inform your cleaners to do this too, but don't leave food out in the open, and clear up spillages immediately, etc. We cannot stress this enough, but the best control method is eternal vigilance, observing all the correct protocols in your HACCP-based FSMS. Pests need shelter and food. Denying these two essentials will make your premises and food pest-free in almost all instances. In serious cases, the best control method is to engage a licensed pest control contractor or officer. To do this, you should ensure that you are aware of all costs, the type of pest you need to control, the company's competence to deal with the pests in the food industry. Is there a 24-hour emergency cover and call-out? Are they members of a professional institution? Will they produce a written report and recommendations? Do they have public, employees' liability and product insurance? Lastly, as a supervisor, you and your staff must be able to recognize the signs of pest presence or infestation. If present, it should be reported to management, and any food affected thrown away. Staff should be instructed on all the information in this module by the supervisor, and be tested on their knowledge. You must contact your pest control contractor at the first sign of a problem, and accompany them throughout their inspection. The position of traps and bait boxes must be recorded, and they must not be moved. Ensure all remedial action is taken after any inspection. In this lesson, you learnt about various kinds of unwanted pests, and how to deal with them in the food business. Onwards to the last module.